Hey, the other day I was talking to a client about, speaking at an upcoming conference, and they were talking about how they were going to have some really, tough conversations during the conference because they had to put some issues on the table that, in essence, maybe could become political. And as I was talking through how I might help them meet their needs, I thought it was interesting that the person stopped me and said, "Oh, well, wait a minute, Nan, you just used the word communications. And, last year our speaker talked about communication. So we don't want to talk about communications this year." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's talk about," and I pivoted and gave him, a different topic. But when I hung up on the conversation, it struck me like, wait a minute, what problem have you ever solved in life where you actually haven't had to talk about it? Most of our problems are solved, and most of the conflicts we have in life have to be could have been avoided had we talked to each other, or we have to talk to each other to work through the conflict, or sometimes we have to learn to talk to each other in order to solve a problem. But how much time do you really spend investing in your people, teaching them how to have those uncomfortable conversations? Or how do you create a culture where, you make it safe to talk about these hard things? Unfortunately, most of our organizations don't spend enough time investing in their people, but they forget that there's a cost for not making that investment. I mean, think about it. If you don't put your problems out on the table, where are those problems going? More than likely there's some gossiping going on in the break room. People are standing around talking and speculating about certain problems that just don't get taken care of, or they're venting about those irritations, or sometimes they just are stressed out and ruminating about a problem, but they don't feel comfortable or know who to bring it to. Well, those actually have a cost to your organization. Like, can you even imagine if, people wasted 15 minutes a day in your organization? Gossiping, speculating, ruminating. Can you imagine it? No, I've done it. Okay. You think about it. If you have 100 employees who are making $40 an hour, even if they only waste 15 minutes a day, you've lost $1,000 of productivity. That might not seem like a lot, but you think about it, that's $5,000 a week, $20,000 a month. But let's look at that a different way. If you have a 10% profit margin in your organization, that means you have to make an additional $10,000 in revenue every day when people don't want to talk about problems. And sometimes there's the cost of not even solving the problem, but this is just lost time because, as I said, we're ruminating, gossiping, speculating, avoiding problems. And if you really think about that and you annualize that, that costs you $2.4 million. I shouldn't say cost you, but you have to earn an additional $2.4 million in revenue. So, do you want to make an investment in your people so they can have those uncomfortable conversations? Or do you want to work on your selling and marketing so that you can increase your revenue? I don't know. I think you might be able to increase your sales and revenue by improving your communications as well, but just something to ponder. So, if you want to make your, so just something to ponder.